We've got 2 voters. No Facebook. No Twitter. Welcome back. Second segment of the TD show this morning. Been stuck on kind of reviewing the NFL season, looking back at the Super Bowl, looking ahead to the draft that's coming up in June. Got a little bit more stuff to touch on in the NFL. What we got over here next? Let's go down to South Florida where it's nice and warm.
How about the poll? Let's look at the poll.
Okay, all right. Let's look at the poll question. Maybe do a little discussion on that. Let's see. If legal in their states, should NFL players be allowed to use marijuana recreationally? 100% say yes. I'm going to vote no.
You think no?
I'm going to say no. Here's why.
All right.
I don't want to tell people what to do, but there's a lot of other drugs that they can't be using. I mean, that it's legal to take some steroids. It's legal to take a lot of other things, creatine, other kind of performance enhancers. They're legal to take, but you can't take them. You can't do it in the NFL.
Well, here's the thing. I do not smoke marijuana.
Well, I don't either.
Right.
Or freebase cocaine.
I do not freebase cocaine. But I wouldn't want my kids smoking marijuana, and I don't really approve of anybody smoking marijuana. That said, I don't really approve of anybody smoking cigarettes either.
That's true.
But if people want to do it, then I think I'm okay with if people really want to do that, then they can do it. I mean, we've seen that it's really no more damaging than alcohol. And the thing is that some of the players say that they want to be able to do it after the game to help with pain or anxiety or whatever.
Stress, yeah.
Right.
Head injuries.
So I don't necessarily see a problem with that. And I mean, the one problem I could see with it, I don't really know how marijuana works, but if it helps you concentrate in any way, kind of like the Seahawks D-backs taking Adderall.
Yeah, which seems illegal to me.
It was. They got suspended a game or 2 last year. But if they're doing it for that before the game, then I'm not on board with that. But if they want to do it afterwards and it's not helping their immediate performance, I think I'm okay with that. And what we've heard anyways is that they test one time.
Pre-season.
During the OTAs or whatever, and they don't test the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So theoretically, these dudes could be lighting it up right now all season and nobody would know.
I mean, I don't think that it's going to hurt the NFL in any way if they allow their players to smoke marijuana where it's legal.
But I think we're coming upon the day where it's going to be legal to recreationally smoke marijuana in every state.
Yeah, I'd say that we're on that way. I mean, once you start it, and once you initiate it, then it's okay. And once if you say, well, if you had this certain type of injury, then it's okay. You might as well just say you can do it if you want to do it.
Because everybody's going to have that injury.
Everybody's going to have that injury that wants to do it. I mean, but with that being said, if for some reason that is to help them recover from injuries or other things like that, I mean, if that helps you relax enough that you can get back in there and work harder the next day, that's the same argument to be made against steroids and against these other performance-enhancing drugs that cut the recovery time. It just seems like a slippery slope when you start allowing in some substances that have been banned and you start unbanning them. Then what do? Where do you cut it off? How do you make things fair?
This isn't funny, but have you ever seen the South Park where they get the medicinal marijuana in South Park and all the men in South Park start giving themselves cancer?
Oh yeah, cancer.
Testicular.
Yes.
They start giving themselves testicular cancer so they can smoke weed.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the NFL does that with a certain injury, that's what we're going to see. Everybody's going to get that injury.
Yeah.
But talking about something else, kind of borderline here. It's been 3 months since this came out.
Oh, probably longer than that. It's warm outside.
It's not today.
No.
The Jonathan Martin and Richard Incognito text in Miami. We
I
saw.
like how you called him Richard. I like that. Makes him sound more profound.
What's his name?
I think he goes by Richie.
Well, Mister, he's a big guy. I don't want to offend him.
Yeah.
Richard Incognito, Mr. Sir Richard Incognito. we saw that it came out, and it was real big news when it broke. Jonathan Martin basically quit the team and said this guy was bullying me.
He didn't say just him. He said the whole team.
Right, but
specifically him.
Yeah, he kind of narrowed it down to him. Everybody was doing it, but he was the instigator of it. And then this week we saw the text come out from all the conversations, thousands of them, and basically we saw that everything Incognito doing, Martin was doing as well, and really that it just don't hold much defense what Martin was saying.
And it's not like he, in any of the texts that I read, he said, hey, don't say that, man.
Right.
And if you look, this is where...
I tweeted the link to all the text if you want to read them. They're kind of graphic, so I wouldn't do that with your kids around or anything, but if you want to go to my Twitter, I'll retweet it with the show's Twitter account here later. But you can go and read. There's thousands of them.
But here's the thing that got me when I was looking through. There was a time when Jonathan Martin had first left the team, and he went to his rehab.
Were you playing some background music?
I don't know what it was. I didn't cause that. Jonathan Martin had first left the team, and Richie Incognito texted him, do you have it? Where he's asking if he's okay? Maybe not.
Yeah, and he says, what's going on,
yeah,
man?
what's going on, man?
And he's
you
like,
all right?
He's like, I don't know, it's all my agent or something.
He said, it's crazy, man. No hard feelings against you. And then Incognito was like, let me know if you need anything. Legitimately, let me know. And he's like, yeah, man, I appreciate your support or something. Like they were friends after this whole incident. Now, I don't know if that's Martin was scared and didn't want to talk to Incognito.
But I mean,
what the problem was? It looks to me, the more I watch it, the more they hear about it, I think that this is going to sound mean, and I'm sorry, Jonathan Martin, but I think you might have some kind of a mental instability. I'm not joking about that. I'm being serious. I think he needs to get a mental evaluation.
Or maybe he was a sissy and he was like, this playing football is starting to suck. Maybe I can just quit, sue this guy for bullying me and still make some money but not do anything.
Or quit and say it was the team's fault.
Right.
That you're not just walking out on your contract, that they made it to where they have to pay you the rest of your money. I mean, I could live for a long time on a couple years of an NFL salary.
No kid. Well, one of the things we saw, and part of his defense was that Martin says he was bullied by Incognito to pay for this entire trip where the offensive line went to Vegas.
Yeah.
And there's texts saying that he didn't even go on. He ended up not going on it. And there's text where Martin says, let me know. I'm not going to be... No, Martin texts Incognito, says, I'm not going to be able to make it.
Right.
Let me know if I need to cover any of the charges. And Incognito's like, nah, it'd be all right, man. We'll take care of it. So, I mean, just everything that's said is basically just falling apart with everybody being there. I don't know if Martin didn't think people would eventually be able to see these, if he would just be able to make this up and everybody would take his word for it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's basically just falling apart.
Yeah, it's not... Things are looking up better and better for Richie Incognito. Will he have any kind of case for being suspended for 8 games for no grounds?
No, he'll play next year.
I mean, he was suspended 8
Right.
games this year.
Right.
That's 8 games worth of salary that he didn't get.
Right, which we could see maybe the players' union taking to court and getting
That's
him
what
his
I'm
money.
saying.
But
Yeah.
as far as next year goes, I think he'll be starting for a
yeah.
team from day one.
I agree.
Moving along, still talking a little football. National Signing Day was Thursday. And we saw what we've seen 6 out of the past 7 years. Nick Saban and Alabama having the top ranked recruiting class.
That didn't change on Thursday. That was prior to that. And the thing is, you look at a lot of the people that sign on National Signing Day and where they're going. They're not going to one of these top 10 schools in the best classes, because those people are the people that are showboating. Those are people that want to show off a little bit. I don't know why, but that frustrates me. When you wait till the last day and you've got your press conference all set up and you think people care.
Yeah, and you got to pull out a Nike shoe that's colored like one school, and then you got this hat that not really that hat. Just gonna lay it over here so everybody can see it, and then you pull out your real hat. I mean, it's kind of a joke.
But if you look at a lot of the people Alabama is signing, a lot of the people that Florida State is signing, a lot of the people that Auburn are signing, they're committing their junior year. They're serious about this. They know where they want to go to school. Saban knows that he wants them. Malzahn knows that he wants them. Jimbo knows that's who they want. And they've set that system up 2 years in advance where they're putting those pieces together. The people that are waiting till the last minute, it normally doesn't pan out to be as good as they are. However, I did see a stat that 50% of 5-star rated high school recruits actually play in the NFL. I didn't think it'd be that high. But 50%, so I mean, if you're one of those guys up there on stage pulling your hats out and you're a 5-star recruit, your odds are 50-50 that you're actually going to make it to the NFL.
Just to go over the top 6 real fast: 1 Alabama, 2 LSU, 3 Ohio State, 4 Florida State, 5 Texas A&M, 6 Auburn. Really the 6 schools that you would assume would be in the top 6. And I've heard some grief over Florida State going number 4 because they won the national championship. You might assume that they would have took over number 1 over Alabama. But the thing is, they don't need a lot. They didn't have to get a lot to make their team better than everybody else's who lost players.
And that goes back to my point that Alabama had their signing class before Florida State won the national championship. That was locked in. They knew who was coming there. Another thing that kind of surprised me is I thought maybe Baylor would be a little higher up the list.
And Oregon.
Bears are doing, and of course Oregon's been off a little bit. And normally
you still, but with all that Nike sponsorship that they got up there, you bring kids up there to see that.
The money that they've got there in Washington with all the money they're spending on their stadium.
Yeah, I think they were 21st or something. Yeah. It was a surprise. Another surprise I thought was Tennessee at 7.
Yeah,
that seems pretty high for them in hopes of rebuilding their program.
Which I think they're on the right track.
And then we saw Texas come in at 17, which a lot of people are harping on, but really, didn't have much time to work there with getting recruits. You're looking at Charlie Strong got hired a month ago, I guess. We had just started the show when he got hired. So, he didn't have a lot of time to work there. You assume that the recruiting class next year, as good a recruiter as he is, will be a lot better.
Right. I agree. For him to, Matt Brown left him something in a top 20 recruiting class. I think next year it'd be safe to say he'll be in the top 10.
Also, something interesting that happened Thursday was DJ Law, who's a 3-star Florida running back recruit, sent out 3 letters of intent to Ole Miss, Utah, and a junior college. And Ole Miss ended up releasing his letter from them saying, well, you know what, if you're going to make this mess, we don't really want you anyways. And the way I understand it, the first one to get the letter was the one that he would have ended up going to, which was Ole Miss. And I think maybe he thought, you know what, I can just fax these letters of intent, and then I can go into my little thing and then choose the one I really want. Yeah. I'm not sure that he really understood the process.
Well, here's the thing. This is what's got me on my soapbox. These kids that think that these teams ought to wait around for them, they have scholarships. If you don't pick Ole Miss, Utah, or JUCO, some kid just lost their scholarship. Some kid did not get picked up by that team if you wait till the very last day. I don't know.
You're not even a 5 or 4-star recruit. You're a 3-star recruit.
It's better than me.
Right. But in all fairness, to DJ Law, we do see college programs oversign every year.
Yeah.
So, this is kind of the opposite of that, but we've saw the powers always with schools in NCAA over a player. That said, colleges do the same exact thing. Also, in the rankings, Kentucky was 22nd, only 1 behind Oregon.
I saw that, yeah.
That football school that they're building.
He was paid. Sorry, everyone. Richard Incognito was paid. Sir Richard Incognito via Stockton.
I'm not the only one that's scared of that.
We can't. But we have a hard time researching ourselves while we're if something hits me while I'm talking, I can't look it up. We look up stuff the night before, but in the morning of, but I can't look up stuff while I'm talking. So I appreciate people that set us straight.
We don't have a Stats Inc. or a research department here, or a phone screener, or a cameraman, or really anything. You're seeing it all right here.
Yeah.
Talking about the signing day, we saw Jimbo Fisher come out and say Jameis Winston is going to 2 more years.
2 more years. I lost that article. I had it up with a quote in it. Let's
see if you can get it.
I've got it here. Fisher says Andrew Luck did it. Peyton Manning did it. Why can't Jameis Winston do it? Fisher also says education is critical to him. He's a good student. We assume every kid wants to run the money. That money is going to be there one way or another. As a quarterback, the more you play, the more you develop. You watch a lot of quarterbacks fail in pro football, and I think it's because they don't have that foundation. They've only had 1 or 2 years of development. I agree with the second part of his quote that 2 years or 3 years of development is a good thing for quarterbacks. I don't know that a college system will prepare a quarterback better than a pro system. If a quarterback is willing to go to the NFL and sit on the sideline, say like they did in Green Bay, you know, if you're going to send somebody and sit behind Brett Favre for a couple years, that's going to prepare you a lot more than anything in college will. However, I do see his point, and the thing is, he's a redshirt, so he would only have to stay an additional year to actually get his degree. You know, he wouldn't have to come back and do it. We know that he's been named. He's going to play baseball again this year, and that's going to be his final year playing baseball. He's not going to play it next year.
And I've heard it expressed too that he wants to try being a 2-sport athlete if he can. Of course, a lot of things would have to fall in place there. All that said, do you think he stays 2 years?
I don't know. I mean, he is the big fish at FSU. Now, he's running that campus. He's the mayor of that town. I don't know. I don't think he's going to stay 2 years though. I mean, don't.
if he has a year next year like he had this year, you got to assume he's gone.
I agree. If they win another national title, and he plays as well as he did, I could see him saying, I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it because I've never been that good at anything. I've never been a world class anything.
And you got to worry a little bit about money. What about if he blows his knee out that next year and gets paid nothing as opposed to getting paid millions?
Yeah, I don't think his knee would be as big of a deal. I think he could come back from his knee being blown out. But if he tears a rotator cuff, or I don't know if quarterbacks ever have to have Tommy John.
Joe Theismann.
That's true. That was more than a knee. That was like a whole leg explosion.
But I don't know. As good as he is, and I mean, you could live off the money that they get signed to.
Yeah,
the
20
first
million,
year.
30 million.
Right.
I mean, we're not in the stupid Sam Bradford numbers anymore.
Right. And most NFL players probably spend that in a year.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you had to, if he got hurt that first year, you could live off that money the rest of your life.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be safe to. I mean, going to be exciting to watch. He's obviously going to be back this year, so we'll see what happens. And if he's projected number 1, which everyone's saying he will as of the end of next year, I don't know. It's going to be hard for me. Now, I mean, Andrew Luck, he did stay. Peyton Manning did stay. That times were a little different for Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck, I mean, he stayed during the big money years. I mean, he could have came out and got Sam Bradford money.
He did, and I don't know. I just feel different about Andrew Luck because everybody said, even though we kind of feel like we attach winning to how good Jameis Winston is. With Andrew Luck, with that Stanford team, everybody said no matter what they did, he was going to be number 1.
Yeah.
Everybody already looked at him like he was the franchise quarterback of a team for 15 years.
Right, I agree.
And when you get some of that with Jameis Winston, I just don't think you get it in the capacity that you got it with Andrew Luck.
Yeah, and I've heard Jameis Winston talk a few times. I mean, and he's a bright enough kid. Andrew Luck, though, when you hear him talk, I mean, you look at him, you think he's a hillbilly. But when you hear him talk, I mean, he is someone who very, very much very much wants to put education first, wants to know everything there is to know about the game.
Right.
He has that Peyton Manning mentality of, I have to learn every single thing I can learn about this game before I'm even going to try it. And that's the two things that Peyton and Andrew Luck have to have. And maybe Jameis is like that. Maybe we'll see it over this year that's how his mind works, and he wants to read defenses like they do. He wants to learn to do the things that Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning are capable of doing. And if it does, he might say that's something I don't know about yet, though.
Moving on to something that took place last night and it's taking place this morning. We got it on in the background here. It looks like we got some team figure skating going on. The United States is
it figure skating or ice dancing? No, it's figure skating.
Third right now. We saw them win the first gold medal of the Olympics this morning. The Olympics in Sochi as a whole. And, you know, now that they're going on, you hate to talk about these problems that the journalists were having, but just some of the things, when you've got beer-colored water you're told you can't use on your face
or drink or bathe in.
You got reporters having to trade light bulbs in the rooms for doorknobs so they can put a doorknob on their door so it will lock. You got them killing stray dogs because they're stray dogs because those people that lived there were relocated because of the Olympics. And then I saw a picture of a person who got a honey packet there, and there was a bee in their honey packet.
Yeah, but I mean,
and it's the journalist. You want to say toughen it up or whatever. But then we saw this morning. I tweeted the picture. The guy, the bobsledder, got locked in his bathroom and had to
bust out a wall.
Yeah, to get through.
But when I think about this and when I hear about the journalists, this is nothing new. Sochi is rougher, and maybe it sucks a little bit more in Sochi, but the Olympics is always chaotic. I heard at one time the Atlanta Olympics in this country, in the United States, in Atlanta, was a disaster.
Right.
Through the first week. I think they got it sorted out. They got everything figured out.
Had the bus drivers that didn't even know where to go.
But I think, a lot of that, there's a lot of language barriers in Europe. And they have to go through so much more security that I think they put a lot of focus on that kind of stuff, which is good. There's still been security problems and some threats. So far, we haven't seen any kind of violence. And I'm okay with people sleeping on the floor if we've got security as our priority and things are and everyone's safe. I'll be okay.
Yeah, did you see
I did see about the airplane. That's what you're about to say.
Got hijacked.
And they got it. I mean, they didn't let it make it there.
Apparently, they turned the monitors off so the hijacker couldn't see where they were going, and they just kind of told him, "Hey, we're going to Sochi," and they weren't really going to Sochi. But let's get a little bit more to the Olympics and start talking about the problems. Except for the open ceremony, did have the snow circle that didn't open last night. You had 4 circles and a snowflake. Just another example of problems. But anyways, I mean, the opening ceremonies were pretty cool. Then you had the walk-in. Then you eventually had the play, or I don't know what you'd call it.
Ceremony? I don't know. We saw what China...
They acted out the history.
Yeah, we saw what China did, and we saw what London did. I mean, it's become the thing to put on this elaborate production, and I mean, it's pretty cool. It gives you a little bit of insight in history. I had no idea what was going on during parts of it.
I mean, even me, I've had some extensive Russian history. I mean, watching that was brutal. I mean, you didn't really know what was going on. You had the guy, apparently one of the guys announcing had lived in Russia for about a 10-year period, and he kind of filled you in on what was supposed to be going on. But just kind of talking about that, when the Olympics come back here, you got 10 events in U.S. history that you have to put into our skit. What are the 10 events?
10 events in Pilgrims.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrims landed.
So you start with the Pilgrims.
Probably. I mean, we're not going to go back and debate Vikings or
right. Well, I didn't know.
Go Columbus.
I didn't know if you'd start with the Pilgrims or if you'd start in 1776 when we actually became a country.
I'm going to start Pilgrims getting here. Just
include the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, I'm going to go through Revolutionary War. Probably going to go to writing of the Constitution. I'll go through probably the War of 1812. I'll go through the Civil War.
So you include the Civil War?
Yeah. We got to. It's the biggest part of the country. I mean, biggest part
I just felt like Russia kind of tried to shine away from the whole Russian Revolution and everything.
No, they didn't mention anything about the USSR. I mean,
they did. They didn't really mention it, but the guy broadcasting kind of threw it in that this is supposed to be.
Look, we screwed up. Well, and I mean, we've seen the fallout, what has happened in our country, the differences in people's opinions based on how they were. Anyway, we're going to keep going.
Right.
We're going to move into the...
So we got Civil War, that's 4.
Industrial Revolution.
Henry
Ford making cars. I'd like to throw that in there.
We'll include that with Industrial
Revolution.
Revolution.
World War I and II, obviously.
You got 8 now.
Maybe civil rights.
Civil rights? No, that's 8. Civil rights is 8.
I would like to go probably up to the modern times. Go to the moon. Maybe the space program in general, yeah. I mean, they went space program last night.
Yeah, of course, some people think we've never really been to the moon.
Yeah, I'll go to the moon, and I'll probably bring it home. I don't know if I'd actually show anything about 9/11, but I'll show the country coming together after 9/11, war on terror type deal, to end it out where we're at today.
If we had the Winter Games right after Russia, the Russian Federation, would you include the Cold War in the skit just to mess with them a little bit?
Maybe the Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, legitimately, and not just poking fun at Russia. That is a huge moment in American history. Is the fall of the Soviets. I mean, they've been our arch enemy there for so long. But yeah, I mean, that's something you'd have to think about. The Cold War would be something you would think about. Think about 30 to 40 years of the American. The way we lived our lives was in fear of this and what could happen. So yeah, that's something we talk about. We're about to have a break here. We're about a minute away. We'll come back and we're going to talk a little NBA basketball. We'll maybe talk a little college basketball. And we'll definitely get into MLB. We've got some big contracts that have come out this year. So stick around, refresh your browser. Don't forget you can tweet at us, send us Facebook messages. We'll be back in 3 minutes.